Hey guys, so we are ready for chapter, I almost said 2, chapter 5, don't know where my brain's at. I wanted to kind of go over who are the characters that we have been introduced to, okay? So I've got them written out here. So chapter 1, we read about Kiana Rabuni. It was from her perspective. And we're kind of learning a little bit more about Kiana. This is the new girl. We learned a little bit more about her, a little sass, from Aldo Braff's point of view in this last chapter. Chapter 2, we learned about Mr. Kermit. He is the educator who once was on top of the world, and now he's kind of lost his spark, and he's just ready for retirement and ready to get out of here. He acts like he doesn't care about anything. Chapter 3, we learned about Peter Elias. He is one of the boys in this room, and he definitely has a disability of dyslexia and probably dyscalculia. That means that when he sees letters, they get mixed up in his head. This is a real disability, guys. A lot of kids, a lot of people, adults suffer from this, and makes it very hard to read. So that was interesting. I thought that they really got a chance for you to see what it's like if you have dyslexia from Peter's point of view. Then yesterday, chapter 4, Mr. Space read about Aldo Braff, who has anger management. And I have our book set up on this last part of where Mr. Kermit ripped up his crossword puzzle in a million pieces and stalks out of the room after Miss Kiana, snaps her fingers and was like, "It's her mom. Right? You and Miss Fountain's mother used to be a thing." So that really triggered him, y'all. So I'm very interested because today we're going back to Mr. Kermit. So I'm excited to see what happens. I hope that you guys are following along. If you have missed any of the chapters, go back and listen to them. All of the links are on Google Classroom, and I'm telling you to do that because there will be assignments coming up with that, okay? So here we go with chapter 5, Mr. Kermit. Emma Fountain, I can scarcely believe it. Of all the classrooms in all the schools, she has to walk into mine. She's a time machine. That's what she is. The spitting image of her mother. It brings back memories I thought were buried forever. I can still see the engagement notice in the newspaper. Fiona Bertelsmann and Zachary Kermit. The photo of the happy couple cheek to cheek, eyebrows perfectly aligned, smiling like nothing was ever going to come and rain on their parade. On our parade. How innocent we were then. How blind. How foolish. It was all over in a heartbeat. The test. The scandal. The breakup. Since then, I've only seen smiles like that twice. 7 months later, when Fiona lined her eyebrows up with the gill fountain in the engagement notices. And today, with their daughter, Emma, stepped through the doorway of room 117. Fate has a way of sticking it to you twice, surfacing like a bad burrito. This morning was my second shot. Every day draws me 24 hours closer to early retirement, but the last lap isn't going to be a cakewalk. First Thaddeus and the Unteachables, and now Fiona's clone in the room next door, a living, breathing, bucket-filling reminder of the life I missed out on. So I'm going to pause right here. So I want y'all to understand that Fiona was they were engaged, okay? Zachary Kermit, so Mr. Kermit and Mrs. Fountain, Emma Fountain, her mother, they were engaged, okay? It's not her daughter, but because she got married to Gil Fountain, all right? So not only does he have to deal with the awful superintendent, Thaddeus, the unteachable children, now his ex-love of his life, the daughter, who looks just like his ex-love, is teaching next door. Okay, let's keep going. If that poor kid tries to teach middle schoolers the way she ran her kindergarten classes, her students will have her throat open by Columbus Day. I should sit her down and explain a few things, but that would mean I care. Caring is where the trouble starts. Hard experience taught me that. I didn't make it to the cusp of early retirement by caring. I made it by keeping my head down regardless of whether they give me honor students or Unteachables or the zombie apocalypse. All I have to do is endure. There are small satisfactions. The hiss of the air-controlled closing of the school entrance behind me as I exit the building, the crunch of my shoes on the bad pavement of the parking lot, the stab of pain in my sore shoulder as I open the ill-fitting door of my 1992 Chrysler Concorde, the one Fiona and I had bought to start our new life together, sky blue, although now it's mostly rust. I don't know why I've kept it so long. For sure it isn't the money. The repair bills alone would have bought me a Lamborghini. I turn the key in the ignition and the motor coughs and dies. A few minutes later, the hood is open and I'm staring in it at who knows what. Suddenly, there's a screech of tires and a pickup truck is reversing across the parking lot at a top speed, hurtling toward me. My one thought is that if I'm crushed to death here and now, Mr. Thaddeus and the school district won't ever have to pay me for my early retirement. The pickup roars to a stop with its rear bumper 6 inches from my legs. Eyes blazing, I shout, "Are you crazy?" The door opens and the driver gets out. I blink. It's one of my students. I know the Unteachables are a rough crowd, but I never expected one of them to steal a truck and use it to try to kill me. Sorry, the gas pedal sometimes sticks a little. When my shocked expression doesn't fade, the kid adds, "It's me, Parker from class. What can I do to help?" To start with, I rasp, you can stop reversing at 90 miles an hour. Why is a middle schooler driving at all? As he launches into a whole story about his grandmother, the family farm, and a provisional license, I conjure up a picture of him in a front row desk, examining worksheets from point-blank range like he's staring through a jeweler's eyepiece. "Wow, that's a pretty old car," he tells me. "I mean, mine's old, but yours is like classic." He squints at the name in raised chrome letters. "It's a Coco Nerd?" "Concorde," I correct impatiently. "Didn't anyone ever teach this boy to read?" "Never mind that. Any idea how I can get it started up again?" Give Parker credit. He's better with cars than he is with words. He tinkers around under the hood, and pretty soon the motor is running again, although it's belching gray smoke all over the parking lot. "Stop it!" A silver Prius pulls alongside. The window is open, and through the billowing clouds, we can just make out Miss Emma Fountain. "Turn it off! Turn it off!" Parker rushes behind the wheel and kills the engine and gets out of the Prius. She gets out of the Prius, waving her arms to clear the air. "Do you have any idea how much carbon is in that smoke?" Mrs. Vardalas is the chemistry teacher, I reply, deliberately misunderstanding the point she's trying to make. "I'm in charge of, well, you know which class I'm in charge of." I indicate Parker with a slight nod. "I'm bucket filling," Parker tells her proudly. "You know, helping Mr. Kermit." "Mr. Kermit," she asks, "how old is this car?" "Your mother picked it out," I inform her with an oddly defiant smile. Her eyes widen. "Oh, wow, that's old." It's just that people didn't understand emissions back then. It was before everyone started putting the environment first, recycling, composting, installing solar panels. A long speech forms in my mind and how this is a free country and it's none of her business what anybody drives or how old it is or what it spews into the atmosphere. But for some reason, I can't say it. Not to her. Not to that face that looks so much like Fiona's. She softens. "Well, maybe you can keep it, but you definitely have to put in a Cadillac converter." "It's on my list," I assure her. "Right after a new floor for the back seat, just in case I ever have passengers." Parker peers into the back. "Whoa, is that the ground?" "Air conditioning," I supply tight-lipped. "Old school." Emma regards me with pity. On the plus side, she and Parker managed to get the motor running again, minus the smoke this time. Wow, Miss Fountain, Parker raves. You're really good with cars. I learned from my mom, she explains. She took a course in auto mechanics because she bought a real lemon once. Her voice trails off as she frowns at the old Concorde, connecting the dots. I swallow what's left of my pride. Thanks for your help. I'm positive that her first act after getting home will be to call her mother and say, Ma, guess what? He still got that car. The calendar appears in my mind, that magical date in June circled in gold Sharpie. Only 172 more days to go. And that is it.